The circumstance will never be in your favor. It is your move against it that will make it better. That's how life is. For me, my defining moment was when I deliberately refused a civil service employment when I finished service. We all have values and bring value to the table, but the presentation is the problem. And some people do not like their privacy to be invaded. It is when you network that people will know that you're important, not when you socialize. That's the truth.
When you network.
Because your network is your net worth, not your socialization. I have gifted this mindset to my children. So it's a gift to them to think the way I'm thinking. Somebody didn't give to me. I don't blame the person because the person didn't know otherwise. If he knew better, he would have done better. But I know better. So my children should be way better than me because I gave to them as a gift. Because what I am giving to them is more than what I give to them. The principle is your money. So you must be mindful of not losing it.
Meet Dr. Emmabcompletesolutions Shaibu, a distinguished professional whose expertise spans over 2 decades in marketing, financial management, human capital development, and international consulting. Dr. Shaibu holds advanced degrees in marketing and global consumer marketing, and he is a chartered marketer accredited by the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. He is also a chartered economist, a certified human capital development expert, and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Development and Social Studies. Dr. Shaibu's global recognition includes being an internationally certified management consultant, licensed to practice in over 50 countries, and a fellow of both the Institute of Management Consultants Nigeria and the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes UK. In 2019, he earned his certification as a time management specialist from the London Graduate School in the UK. In 2018, he was certified by GIZ German Cooperation and SEDIN as a trainer and coach for MSMEs in Nigeria, and has since served as an institutional mentor for the Nigeria Bottling Company's Coca-Cola Youth Empowered Program. Dr. Shaibu has trained youth and entrepreneurs through initiatives like the Kinabuti Initiative, just from international partners, including Orange Corners of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. In 2024, he was officially licensed as a forensic practitioner in Nigeria, with specializations in financial and human resources audit. You are welcome to the Mind Mastery Podcast with the Mind Master, Osas.
Be whoever you want to be.
You're welcome to the Mind Mastery Podcast. On this show today, we have an important guest that I guess a lot of you are familiar with. He is one of the top coaches in the city of Jos, and his name is Dr. Emmanuel Shaibu. So you're welcome to our program.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, basically, the Mind Mastery Podcast is a podcast where we share and dive deep into the mindset that empowers for wealth, success, and fulfillment in life. And basically, it's in our 5 areas that gives balance to a fulfilling life. And that is in our faith, in our finances, in our friendship, in our family, and also our fitness. So once again, you are welcome.
Pleasure.
So in our show today, we are going to be taking series of questions and getting to allow you share your personal experience as it has to do with mindset, habits, and a lot of things that many people really do not talk about. Because when we see successful people, we admire their success. But we also know that there's something behind the scene that a lot of people are not aware of. So sir, the first question we're going to ask you is, can you share with us a defining moment, for you when your mindset and your mental disposition completely shifted, and how that change has helped you in life and in your career?
Okay, thank you very much for this podcast. And let me start from a comment you made. Successful people usually don't share their backstory. The truth is, if there are no deliberate opportunities like this, they will never share. That's one. 2, if you are also not connected to them either as a mentee and watch them for a period of time, and they also watch you, they will not be able to allow you to come into what is their backstory.
Wow.
You must have earned that particular kind of access, first of all, before they will want to volunteer such information, because they treasure such. So back to your question, what was the defining moment? Now, there are several defining moments, and but for me, my defining moment was when I deliberately refused a civil service employment when I finished service. I graduated 2000 from her institution, went for service 2001, 2002, and my father, of course, was working in that company, and I was given a letter of appointment, level 8 step 3, and I said I don't want to be a civil servant. And it didn't make sense, but somewhere my father understood. But my mom, both late now, and they contributed a lot to who I am today, felt that, no, what's my problem? There's a job waiting for you, there's a 2-bedroom flat waiting for you. Why would you refuse a job? I said, no, I wanted more. And why do I want more? I saw my father as a civil servant, and I saw how he struggled to cater for us and siblings and neighbors, that's cousins and nephews.
Yeah.
And I told myself, do I want to keep up with this? So I turned it down. And turning it down was not because there was a ready job waiting for me. There wasn't any. But I knew that if I hit the road with my mindset that has shifted, I will hit the light at the end of the tunnel. So this was far away in Kogi State, and I moved to Kaduna to live with my elder brother, and I started looking for a job, private sector jobs, banks, companies. But I didn't stay idle while looking for a job. I am extremely talented with my fingers. I did typewriting in secondary school. I got an A. So I decided to, help students in high school to type their projects while I was looking for work.
Wow.
So it was in that process I got a job. And then the person said I should just come and be the manager. He sells chemical products for production. I took it up as a sales girl, but it is because of the mindset I had that I will even want to take a job that low when I turned down a civil service employment. So that was what happened. It was while I was there that I got a job in the banking industry. 2004, February. I went for the first test, I passed, then went for the interview in Abuja, I passed, and we got a call. Yeah, you have been selected, you go for training in Lagos. I was in Kaduna with my elder brother. And that was how I went. Now, many people were thinking, he has gotten a plum job. Let me say, because it's a podcast, it was even a contract job in the bank as a graduate.
Wow.
Yes.
Means it was not, you're not a full staff of the
yes,
bank.
Yes. I took up the job because it will get me to the environment of the banking industry. I told myself I would be a banker when I was in GS1. I told myself. So that also determined the subjects I did in secondary school. My wife was one sitting, I got everything. So, and that's how I got into the banking industry. And when I got into the banking industry, I told myself also I will not clock 40 in the banking industry. I told myself I will not clock 40 for whatever reason, whether I was going to be in one bank or not. Now it goes back to tell you the kind of mindset that I have had. So I got into the banking industry, contract staff, graduate. I made sure I learned all I could learn because it was as if I was racing against time. And mind you, this time I was just 85. I was old. But you see, that mindset. But you see, you are on the path to do something, and what we call serendipity happens. Now, my wife today, I met her in the bank. We met in the same bank. So, and I kept on complaining to her that I want another bank job. She said I shouldn't worry, I'm a graduate, I should keep applying, keep doing. So that gave me opportunity to know a lot about various units in the banking industry. And in my 13 years in the banking industry, I was only a contract staff for 2 years, 6 months. So I need to put this on record because many people will not know that I started out as a contract staff. And by October 2006, I moved to another commercial bank in Nigeria, and they didn't even consider that I was a contract staff. They only considered the experience and how I answered the questions during the interview. And that's how I moved to the bank while I was in the bank there, and I married, of course, my wife, moved on. And while in the banking industry, I told myself, what will I do to ensure that I live before 40? Because I told myself that I'm not stay till 40. And it will interest to know that I left banking 6 months when I'll be 40. 6 months. Because, of course, I moved, I got married, built my house, bought some assets, and while in the bank, I never took a loan one day for 13 years. I did not. Any kind of loan. I never took. Not because it was not available, not because I was not qualified, but because I told myself, maybe the salary was good, and I can do a lot with this salary. So I lived my size part-time to leverage on the availability of the salary that I was getting. Built my house without owing anybody, bought my house without borrowing money from anybody. So I lived a very compact life. And thankfully, maybe the kind of wife I married was also a factor, because you attract your kind.
Yeah.
So those mindsets built me. So another thing that was a defining moment while I was in the bank was I now saw what I would have become if I was a civil servant. When I see civil servants come into the bank, whew. Now these are people that when it's time for salary, they will come, you pay them their salary. When they're going, they'll give you tips. 2 weeks after, you'll come and be asking me for 1,000 naira because you're okay in the bank already. So I told myself, so this was what I avoided when I said I want to be a civil servant. Because it wasn't as if the picture was too clear. Well, I said I don't want to be a civil servant.
It means you didn't even know what you were avoiding.
No, I didn't really know, to be frank. So I now told myself, so this is what I was avoiding. And then to worsen it, I now saw pensioners, their payments being delayed. And many of them did not do any kind of investment while they were earning salaries. So I now said, okay, you that you are earning salary that's better and it's even regular, what are you going to do? Of course, that was how my knowledge of broadening my finances, learn on what it entails, what debt is, how to not to buy impulsive buying, how to live within a budget, whether you're calling me stingy or not, that's your business. I make sure I live within a budget. You will not sit with everybody, but that's your headache because it's my life, it's my finance, and it is me that will be responsible. And if I mess up, you will be part of people that will say I didn't do well, that he worked in a bank. So it may be tough, but I lived that, so it became a lifestyle. And people got to know that if you tell him, I will tell you it's not in his budget. I liked it because it was what I wanted. And not because my father couldn't do that, but his earnings were too small for the responsibilities he had. We are 7 children, and there are cousins living with us, and he needed to cater for them, and all that and a lot of things. So those things decided how my life would go from there. And you need to be very firm, even when you have the right decision. You need to be firm with it, because there will be distractions, there will be things that will come that say, it's this thing now, you don't know when you are going to die. But the question is this: if you drop dead today, what will you people say of you? I tell people, whether if you don't die, you may grow old. So what will you become when you grow old? That's the truth. I had this understanding as far back as 20 years ago. If I don't die, I will turn 50, I will turn 60, I will turn 70. So what am I going to do that time? Will I now, at that age, be blaming people? The answer is definitely no. So you are the architect of your life before even you get assistance. The Bible says, for those who are Christians, 19:21 of Proverbs, many are the devices in the heart of man, but it is the counsel of God that will stand. Many of us don't have devices. We want God to just manifest.
Wow.
Doesn't manifest that
That's
way.
a different angle to that.
Yes.
That's scripture entirely.
Yes.
So it means that it is the many devices in your heart that eventually leads to God's disposition.
The Bible also says, is there anybody that wants to build a tower that will not first of all sit down and count the cost? Counting the cost is budgeting. That's what people don't know. That is why if you check the Bible also, when they were building the Tower of Babel, God said, if I allow these people, they will achieve what they want to do. Planning. So you have to destroy them. So before you blame God, check yourself. Many of us don't check ourselves. We blame friends, we blame people, we blame this, the circumstance. The circumstance will never be in your favor. It is your move against it that will make it better. That's how life is.
Come on, this is.
So for me, that's how I reason. So people may come and say, you are too tough, you are too this, I don't be fine. But don't it's just like this in politics. Nobody gives you power. You fight for it, and the most powerful person wins either by money, either by strategy, either by resources or whatever. And those mindsets have been engraved. So when you now made the opener that you don't gift mindset, I have gifted this mindset to my children. So it's a gift to them to think the way I'm thinking. Somebody didn't give to me. I don't blame the person, because the person didn't know otherwise. If he knew better, he would have done better. But I know better. So my children should be way better than me, because I gave to them as a gift. Because what I am giving to them is more than what I give to them.
We'll come to that. We will come to that. This is interesting, and I guess a lot of people would, if we were to be writing, you would have written a page or two, full of all that you have shared. And I want to ask, because I believe that for the things that we do, for us to produce results, there are secrets, there are things we do behind the scene. And for you as a person that has been involved in personal development, you've been involved in consultation for several companies and individual portfolios and all that. And also, you have a daily write-up that you turn out on your social media handles. And you are entering already into the 14th year.
Yeah.
And in this 14th year, it's only 1 month in each of these years that you go on vacation. So on a daily basis, in fact, it's one of the things that if I open my phone in the morning, it's one of the things I expect to go and meet. It's one of the routines that I actually consume on a daily basis. Now I want to know, what are your top 3 daily habits or rituals that has actually fueled the kind of success that you've achieved in several areas that we mentioned?
Thank you very much. Stephen Covey, in one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, begin with the end in mind. I come from a poor home, and I told myself I'll be the last poor person. That's what I told myself. Whether my other siblings tells themselves it's their business, but me, I told myself. And so what do I do not to be poor? And what is poor? Is passing over opportunities repeatedly. So I told myself, you must not come.
You need to repeat that. That's just a new definition for poor.
Yes, passing over opportunities repeatedly.
P-O-O-R.
Yes. Very many people that we see today are actually passing over opportunities repeatedly. Yes. It's not the lack of resources. It is because they pass over opportunities repeatedly. The opportunity to go to school, the opportunity to write an exam, the opportunity to meet somebody. But you say, no, I'm not good enough. I cannot meet this person. No. It's not my tribe. It's not my religion. What can this person do? I'm better than this person. But you're actually passing over opportunities repeatedly. And if you pass it over repeatedly, you actually become poor. That's the truth. So what is one habit? I told myself I will never complain of my circumstances. The truth that I actually don't have any regrets in life. I don't. Why don't I have any regrets? Any decision I have taken at this time, that is the best I know at that time. There may be a new knowledge later, but if I had known better, I would have done better. So why do I regret? I don't. I move on to a new knowledge. So that fueled my craving to know. So not complaining or not blaming anybody, I take full responsibility. In fact, you won't know that I'm the one that made that mistake, because I would have moved on. You'll be wondering. And some of us make mistakes and we're like, how did I do this now? It's okay, but I don't have that time. So I don't sit on my mistakes. Number two, I make sure I am very diligent. Diligence is just consistency and hard work put together. Once you're hardworking and you're consistent, you're a diligent person. And number four, I upgrade my personal goals every time. There is nobody currently living that will tell you that he has achieved his vision. Even companies, they tweak their vision as they are working, as they are getting close to it. And I give an example. One of the banks I worked in 2004, 2005, they told us that by 2020 they will be the top 5 banks in Nigeria. 2004, 2020. If you don't understand, this is a type dream. But by 2016, they are actually the top 5 banks. Today they are not the top 3 banks. Because somebody told himself this is the vision. So as you try to meet a particular vision you have set, the vision gets broader, it gets broader, it gets broader, it gets broader. All in the bid to widen my horizon, not to pass over opportunities repeatedly. So resources come, I meet people. The first thing I think is how to network with them, not how to socialize with them. I don't socialize with people, I network with people. Because networking is different from socialization. That's how it works. Because it is the network that determines your net worth, not your socialization.
This is not written in any books.
Yes, but it's in the book I have written that will be published on 14th Anniversary of Business Digest.
Oh my.
System, structures, and operations. It is there in the book. It's not in any place.
Go for networking, not for socialization.
No. So let me give you an example. How do you network with people? I see you. It's okay to snap and put it on social media, selfie. On his birthday. Yeah. I'll take your contact. By the time we depart, I'll send you a chat. It was a pleasure meeting you. I love the way you speak. I love the way you talk. Then of course, I've captured into my net of Business Digest. You will get it the following morning. It's a strategy, and my business is free. You are not paying for it. But what's the strategy? I'll first of all tell you, I send this thing daily. Can you just read and see, get your feedback? The following morning you will get it. The next morning you will get it. I'm networking with you. I'm not socializing to say I know him, is this. Because I know that I carry value. But how you present the value is the problem. Many people, we all have values and bring value to the table, but the presentation is the problem. And some people do not like their privacy to be invaded. It is when you network that people will know that you're important, not when you socialize. That's the truth.
When you network.
Because your network, that is your net worth, not your socialization. Socialization doesn't have a number with you like your post. No. Every time I put value on the table, I don't want to take anything from you. I want you to take something from me so that you can feel me when we are gone. So that you can have reason to come back. I leave you with that experience. So that you must have this guy. Okay, I'll give you an example of networking. I was in an event, so in March, when I was going for my professional accounting certification.
Yeah.
And somebody delivered the paper. And he's a lecturer in one of the universities, and the paper was fantastic. And it's not the usual lecturer reading. And because the paper was good,
yes, sir.
Nobody, they said, what time for question? And nobody asked question. I raised up my hand in the hall of more than 500 people. And the man was like, in his mind, he said he has delivered his paper and nobody has asked question. And I told him, this is the first time I'm seeing a lecturer that is giving us a practicality. This is the first time I'm seeing a lecturer that is giving us a practicality of this subject matter. How can we build it into the NUC curriculum? That was all. Till today we are still chatting because I'll bring it to my grandparents to do this. If I had just gone to snap with him, socialization, that would be all. He has read Business Digest this morning. He has brought Business Digest online. He has brought my books. That's networking. Yes, I've brought value to him and he's already getting value from it. And he's thinking of inviting me to his institution to deliver a paper. Last week I delivered a paper in Harvard Medical School. It was one of those that followed. And Harvard is in the US. I was in I delivered my paper. He's networking. And it's somebody who has benefited from who is in Harvard right now that brought me into that place to deliver the paper. Still networking, not socialization. And we can mix the two up. Yes. So it is easier for me to make friends with somebody I've networked than for me to make friends with somebody I've socialized with. That's the truth. Because networking is value. I'm giving you value. You can see what I bring. Unfortunately, our academic system may not have taught us how to deliver value. So I have passed that level of us blaming the academic. There's no point because there's a lot of bureaucracy that we need to go into correcting that a lot. And that is why the ecosystem needs to improve because many of the people in school today are being taught what will not be available for them to work in 20 years time. Unfortunately.
That's a subject for another episode. Well, let's look at something. Now, knowing that you have been in the financial industry and you are much more familiar with investment, and I also know that you manage investment portfolio for quite a lot of clients and companies. Now, I want to ask, how do you overcome fear, doubt, resistance, especially when the stakes are high?
Yes. The truth of the matter is, sometimes or most times, the variables that you are afraid of are actually not within your control. So I tell people, how much of the variable within your own control do you understand? Because most times you will tell people, the government is doing this, doing that. We blame government too much when we are not taking care of what is within our own control. So for example, there are 3 principles of investment that I tell people. Have you done enough research about the assumption of that investment? Have you done enough research? Or you just believe that Mr. A said this, so let me go for it? Do enough research. about that thing. Number two, are you conscious of the principle that you are investing in that thing? Meanwhile, we have said, have you done enough research about it? So if you have done the research and the research is what you put in 1 million, 2 million, are you conscious of when the chips are down, will I still get my 1 million? But don't forget, there's what we call TVOM in economics, time value of money, which means that what you invested 1 million in January, for instance, if chips are down and you get the 1 million back in December, it is not that same 1 million you got because the value is totally different, but at least it is better. So if I'm investing in January and the terminal date is December, I should be able to get something 1.3, 1.4, so that it will make up for the value that inflation has affected in the system. Number three, many of us, in our mind, we want to do a get rich quick system, but we don't want to say it. That's the truth.
It's still a mindset.
It's still a mindset. And that mindset has been carried over, that I've worked hard for my money. I told people, you have to actually work hard to earn money first before the money will work for you.
Wow.
Yes. So, that character is a problem. The integrity is a problem. And these two things are the bedrock of any investment. Yes, you might have done all your due diligence. For instance, what happened when you failed bank issues and banks went under. The question is, if you check the managers of the risks of those financial institutions, who are the costs? It's not as if they didn't know the banks were going to hold up. They knew. Incidentally, I have worked in a bank that took over 2 banks, and I have been in a bank that they came to take over us. So I know the two sides, and I know the scenarios in mergers and acquisition. Now, unfortunately, the gestation period for investment varies. Most times we use the gestation period for investment A to look at investment B, but they are totally different. So both of us plant tomato seed, corn seed, and mango seed. We have sown seed at the same time, but the harvest is different. One is a forever tree. One you can plant it several times. So you should be conscious of what kind of investment am I going into. When you understand, I will not be looking at Mr. A that after all we planted at the same time. But is it the same kind of seed we planted, or is it the same kind of soil we planted? These are the things that determine investment. Once you do this, what happens next is the external factors that are not in your control. The monetary policy rate, the inflation rate, they are not within your control. It's government that determines the monetary and fiscal policy. They are little. The impact will not really be much when you do your in-house job. But most people don't do their in-house job and they want magic to happen. They say, or they hear that somebody was doing it too. Let me quickly go and do it before the thing collapses. And they know it's going to collapse. Yet they say, let me cash out. And they live with the mentality that I've cashed out. Meanwhile, it's not a true investment, and that's why there's a slight difference between Ponzi scheme and pyramid scheme. There's a slight difference between Ponzi and pyramid scheme.
You want to throw light on it?
Yes, Ponzi scheme. Keep putting the money with the hope that there's an exit.
Okay.
Pyramid scheme. The more people put the money, we use other people's money to compensate you. Use the other money to compensate you. That's why they tell you, if you bring one person, bring 2 people, there is other people's money to compensate you. They are not really doing any form of investment. They create a traffic for people to come in and use other people's money to compensate. Then when there's no money to compensate, they close the door. That's what we think Ponzi and pyramid scheme.
Which means I've always had this because first, you said do your due diligence.
Yes.
Try to find out, make inquiries, do your research.
Yeah.
That's the first. The second one you talked about is about knowing what's your principal.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to investment, this may be a little tricky for the subject we are talking about. I discovered that a lot of people go into investment more mindful of the profit that they are going to, or they hope to make from the investment, and less mindful of their principal.
I agree with you.
And for me, I think that the money that is yours is actually the one you should protect, not the one that is not yours. Your principal is yours. The profit is not yours yet. So you should protect the principal and not. So I don't know, how do you truly build this kind of mindset where you pay more attention to your principal, helping people to develop that mindset that breaks them into entering good and sustainable investment?
You know, there's what we call money personalities in psychology.
Okay.
And there's what we call we all have different money personalities. Some people are savers, some people are spenders, some people are investors. So I cannot really change your money personality totally. I can only influence you or you influence me. So what people do not understand is this: your principal is your money. So you must be mindful of not losing it. But we were not taught that. We were taught, just put the money. They are giving you 10,000 every month. So if you put in 100,000 and they give you 10,000 10 times, you told yourself that you have cashed out. Actually, you should cash out that 10,000 10 times plus your 100,000.
So you just put your money to collect back your money. You are spreading it for you.
It happened in just here. A lot of them, Fadama, cash flow, all those stuff. So it will tell you that they are not really investing in anything. So the next thing will tell you that they are investing in forex. I say, okay, let's study the forex. Somebody is telling you investing in forex. What about the forex? We know about the forex. It's like trading of shares too.
Yes.
So why would the person tell you he's investing in forex and you didn't ask him further questions? So you put in 2 million, you put in 1 million. He said I'll be giving you 100,000 every month, and after 10 months he tell you, have you not collected your money? And you, because you are not aware that they played on you, that's the pyramid scheme. They just give you your money back in installments. That's how it is. And that's why you can never catch some of us doing that. Even the usual contribution that people do monthly, I have never done it in my life. And if you ask me, in very serious financial literacy class, I will discourage it and only encourage it for one reason.
Please.
The reason is this: it helps some people to build a saving culture, knowing that we are all accountable. So, Mr. A may not have a saving culture, but if he knows we are other 9 persons, it will help him to build it. Because at the end of the day, the first person that collects 1 million, the second person 1 million, the 10th person that collects 1 million has lesser value for his 1 million than the first person. But there are mutual fund and money market schemes where you can put your money that is compounded. But many don't know.
But many people will not be able to see, just like you said. I think we should need to learn the mindset that these ventures they built in us.
They built in us, and it is learnable. So, with all this conversation, and maybe somebody that didn't listen from the beginning may think that my father was a finance person. My father was an engineer. He wasn't. But I told myself, it was what I saw people coming to the bank as a bank staff. I said, it can never be me. And I decided to now invest in knowledge, do this. I had to deliberately read books and tell myself.
Do you mind just sharing? I know this sometimes it's very private. I have known that a lot of wealthy people, a lot of very influential people and successful people, they hardly tell you the books they read. Just very few are sincere and want to help people. So for the sake of helping their audience, because I, for one, most of the books that have actually made a huge impact in my life are first books I have had great people recommend, and books that I have seen author referred to in their books. So it just becomes a train of books. So what do you want to just share?
The
with
first
one
book
or two?
is The Jewish Phenomenon. Another book is The Richest Man in Babylon. Number 3 is Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. Now, these are books that if you read them, you will say it is in the white man's land. How do you now domesticate it? Because that's the problem of people. The books are written with the kind of their own environment. So, but that is where you need to develop your skill to be able to interpret and superimpose it in your own current environment. So I tell you what Jewish phenomenon is. The wealth within the Jew moves around them 12 times before it goes out. So if a Jew is building this house, it's a Jew that will supply the water, that will supply the electricity, that will supply everything, the stone. The market that the Jew that supplies when we buy food from is from a Jew. 1/3 of the richest people in America are Jews. And half of them is a family business. It's a multi-generational business. Permit me to shock you. A new pope has just been, inaugurated. There is a family that sews the rope of the pope in the last 200 years. Yes.
Wow.
And it is the 6th generation and the Pope's regalia is handmade. That's a family business.
Wow. This is I guess a lot of us are getting more than we anticipated on this podcast. And just by the side, all the books you have actually listed, they are on the list of the books that those in the Elite Reading Club are undergoing under my mentorship.
One of the books I want to recommend is this book by Malcolm Gladwell. Tipping Point, Outliers, What the Dog Saw. Read those books. Your mind cannot be the same.
David and Goliath.
It can never be the same. Except there is fundamentally a problem with you. So I tell people, since many of us didn't have that opportunity to read it early, you should make it a point of duty that your children before 16 should read the book. And my children have read it. They've already read it. It may not make sense to them now, but I have deliberately sown a seed in them. All they need is just a trigger. And that thing they've read will come. My son is in just 2 on holiday. He read 10 books and summarized it. I don't need, you can watch your cartoon, but when it's time for a book, read the book and come and summarize to me.
Now, outside, what is the mindset behind reading?
Now, what reading does is this: no matter how long you spend with somebody, you cannot really get the mindset of the person. People bury their stories in books. They bury their principle in books. They bury and businesses don't fail. It is mindsets that fail. So if I want to hide something from an African, popular aphorism, hide it in a book. Because you and I know that our colleague, fellow Africans, really don't read. So if you want to know the principle about people, what do they feel about the subject matter, it is in a book. And by the time they put it in a book, those that want to get to them, there are some people that have mentored you that you have not seen. They mentored you by virtue of reading their books.
In fact, yesterday during my coaching session with my coaching clients in the Elite Reading Club, I told them, I said, one of the basic principles of success is the law of association.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said the cheapest way, because I know how expensive it is for you to associate with people that you look up to. You pay for their coaching programs, you get to meet them, take them out, and all those stuff that you need to do. I said, but the cheapest way to embrace the law of association is through reading.
Through reading. It's through their books, because people, no matter, even if you spend one day with somebody, he may not tell you everything. You may even misconstrue some things you are seeing, but they detailed it in their books. So if you want to gain from them, those things are in their books. Some of them even have worksheets, they have coaching models in their books.
Absolutely.
So how do you connect?
Absolutely.
Many of us have not seen John Maxwell. Very few persons, but some of us have read almost all the books of John Maxwell. So wouldn't you say he will model the way you behave in some things by not necessarily meeting him? But the question is, how would you tell yourself that what I'm reading now is applicable to my own situation now? Many of us read for the now. For my son who is 13, he has read 10 books. I can guarantee his classmates have not read that book. So he cannot be at the same level with them.
Absolutely.
He cannot.
Absolutely.
And because of that simple discipline, I'm already teaching him to understand reading and how to apply it and what it does. He's already learning new words. He's already learning semantics. He's already learning idioms, which ordinarily will not teach him in school. But he can tell you that he read this in this book. He read book on psychology, on small talks, on customer addiction, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, Richard Man in Babylon. Of course, he read Business Digest as a book.
You see, I know that reading for a lot of people is very difficult. In fact, that was what led me to building the Elite Reading Club. And for me, I think it's the easiest system I've ever seen to help busy professionals to keep pace with reading. And for those who've been there, this is the 5th month of the year. We're already in the 6th book with them. And they were surprised how they could read 1-2 books in a month. Like, is this magic? No, it's not magic.
No, but you created an accountability system.
Yes, around it.
Yes, I know it makes some people accountable. If you know that I need to, accountability and being, giving a report is different from being accountable.
You're right, sir.
So if I know that I have a meeting for XYZ time and I don't want to be the laggard. You don't want to be the laggard.
Absolutely.
So imagine all of us thinking we don't want to be the laggard.
Absolutely.
But unconsciously, they are building a habit. It takes 21 days of consistency to build a habit, and habit becomes character. And your character is your person. So Business Digest, I don't see it. It's not possible for me not to write business.
Something to write.
It's not. In fact, there are Business Digests that have been written out 2 years. I cannot broadcast them. Yes, 2 years. 2 years. Because you must also, as Christians, listen to the voice of God.
All right.
So there are times I've woken up, I went to bed, and this is the business that I'm going to post. By the time I wake up one day, another epiphany dropped. And quickly put it together. And somebody said, you mean that you knew I wanted to read something like this? That speaks to the fact that you are being given that thing because it's going to bless somebody. It's not for your consumption. We are conduits. We are not reservoirs.
Right.
That is the understanding. So, but if you do not read, you cannot give out.
Absolutely.
That's why we read. And most of the things we read, we can't even finish sharing it in our lifetime. So when people come in contact with you and they interact with you, you easily know somebody that reads.
Absolutely.
When you interact with people, you know somebody that reads.
Absolutely.
But when somebody that doesn't read, you of course know. And that's what it does. So that you will also be able to be valuable to bringing value on the table. That's what bringing value to the table means in the real sense of the word.
Absolutely.
That's what it means.
Now, sir, knowing that you grew up with parents who really didn't depict what you wanted to become in the future, and for me, I saw their kind of life as a leverage to you.
True.
Yeah, people may not see the leverage in the positive sense as they call it, but I think those motivations, those things that prompted you to take and make decisions you made, they were leverages for you.
True.
So now, what were the beliefs that you had to unlearn to arrive at where you are today?
One of the first beliefs is that I don't need to wait till the end of the month to buy what I need now. Because I saw my father, and sincerely so you tell me wait till they pay salary. I grew up in a home where you only have access to eating meat when they pay salary or when there's Salah or Christmas.
Wow.
And towards it, he was working at a restaurant where they can owe them 4 months salary, 5 months salary. So we were practically involved in some kind of subsistence farming, not because we sell it, not because we want to augment. So I told myself, this is not the kind of life I want. But if my parents knew better, they would have done better. So there's no blame on them. So I told myself, I need to unlearn this waiting for month-end salary. If I will have month-end salary, let my own system create it for me. That is it. So that was what pushed me. I said, okay, my parents are like this. It's not their fault that they are like that, but I'm going to use this to learn. And I started creating systems that if I want anything now, is to drive to one and get it, because the financial structure has helped me to also put emergency funds in place that I can draw from where my daily need to come from. And in the real sense, your expenses give you notice. No expense is emergency. Your house rent is 12 years notice. Your student school fees is 3 months notice. Your fuel gives you a gauge, it goes down. You know how to prepare. And when there are emergencies, that's why you do emergency funding. It gives you notice. Your wife is pregnant, it gives you 9 months notice.
I was going to ask that.
Because something happens.
But some people can just tell you, I say my wife just get married.
Not some people. It happened like 2-3 months. Something like, oh guy, my wife got born. I say, really? So what happened? He said, name ceremony. I say, God be with you. You had 9 months to plan for it, for the hospital bill, for the naming ceremony, for those that do naming ceremony. So you cannot just wake up. Don't let people's anxiety become your financial responsibility. Some people are rascal. So you should not become my own financial responsibility.
Also, how do we balance it for some people who are actually prepared for the delivery? Yes, I know we can prepare that it can be serious, but there are times where the delivery, I'm just using that now as a scenario. There are times where the delivery can eventually become complicated, and it is eventuality that probably you didn't envisage at all.
Yes,
that was not under your control. For such persons, I think that we still could reach out to them.
No, I
classify them into those who were
activate your network.
All right.
There are 5 people that must be in your inner core that you share the same values. One of my friends' wife is pregnant now, and he just told me. So, he has already planned for CS. So what if you reach out to me that time and say, oh guys, I will know he planned. It always doesn't happen that way. So sort, and there are people in your core. I tell people, when somebody who is not within your immediate core comes to ask you for money, it's because he has failed to be responsible within his core.
Absolutely.
Because your core, you should activate your core. There are people that you are friends with, you are not calling, but you cannot ask them for money. They are not your core. But there are some people that are in your immediate core. Yo guy, things rough. They will know.
They will know.
But it's not everybody you can tell that to.
Absolutely.
So, and you must build a network that will have at least 4 people, which you are the 5th person in that core.
One of these neighbors, I see some people pride with the fact that I don't have friends, I don't do friends at all. What do you have to say about this?
Is ignorance. They don't know what they are saying. Where they got to, is it not by virtue of strategic relationships and association that has brought them there? There are some doors that will never open except somebody inside opens it for you to come in this life. You have the money, you have the qualification, somebody inside, and that person can only do that for only 2 reasons: relationship or referral.
2 arrows.
Relationship or referral. If somebody refers Mr. A to me today,
yes,
it is on the strength of my relationship with Mr. A, I'm giving access to Mr. B, or I know the Mr. B directly. It's either referral or relationship. But unfortunately, we don't know how to manage those things in our client here. We take advantage of it and mess it up with our bad character.
Wow. I just feel we can keep on going and on and on and on. But I think we need to draw this episode to a close. Okay. Now, what I'm going to ask is, for you talked about your children, and you said yes, you are gifting them. Now, what I mean by gifts, like you are not gifted, is something they don't have to do anything about. I believe, just like you said, right now, one of the mindsets you are giving your children is to learn how to read. Which means they have to be the leading themselves.
Exactly.
So it's part of what we are talking about, you building a habit for yourself on building a mindset for success. Now I want to ask, if you are to allow your children to inherit something from you, not your money, not your assets, not your properties, what one mindset would you want your children, your mentees like us, to carry on forward in their life?
Okay, I've taught this on what I call building generational wealth. And incidentally, I'm teaching same on Sunday somewhere in Abuja. Now, one thing that you can learn from your mentor or as somebody who you look up to is, number 1, his financial lifestyle.
Wow.
Because Bishop T.D. Jakes says, what you leave in your children is more important than what you leave to your children. Because if what you leave in them is valuable, they will not mess up what you leave to them. But if there's nothing in them, they will mess up what you leave to them. To them is physical resources. So, financial lifestyle. Number 2, my financial wisdom. You may not like my process, but you cannot argue with my results. Because you may not be favorably disposed to discipline yourself the way I'm disciplined. But if you see my result, you know it's a product of the discipline that I've given. So, my financial lifestyle, my financial wisdom, then of course my strategic relationships. Some of the investments in relationship I'm doing today is my children that will benefit. They also should invest in relationship that are their own children will benefit from it. You can see that it seems as if only those in politics tend to reward loyalty of relationship. What your father did, I'm rewarding you now. Yeah. But even when I'm not even in the political space, in a normal lifestyle, relationship is key. Relationship is key. That was why in the Bible, James and John, their mother, went to meet Jesus and said, let my children, one of the right. It's relationship. She's taking advantage of relationship.
Wow. And
that is where lobbying started. She's lobbying. Lobbying is not a sin. It's a process. Let person stay here. If you didn't have that relationship, would she need Jesus? She will not. It's not. And that is a referral. I'm referring my son to you. Want to be in P, want to be here, want to be here.
Want to be chief of staff.
So, but unfortunately, Some people have those opportunities, but because they lack character, they've messed such things up. So build the character first. Those opportunities will come. And I tell people, once you have that, you really don't need physical money. Relationship can give you what you want, because the 5 major resources of finance is gift and talent, people, time, knowledge, skill, and money. If you have these 4, money will come. Money will come.
Wow, this has been an exciting time, and I feel overwhelmed, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's something that I've always known that we help a lot of people out there. Now, having met you for quite some years now, I know you do a lot of works. I know you have coaching programs, you have materials online. So I want you to, for the audience who probably have not met you before and they want to get to know you, what are the things for those probably who want you to become their mentors right now, or their coach, or who want you to consult for their companies, or want you to manage their financial portfolios? They want to know you. So I would just want you to share what are the things that you do that people can, leverage on to get to the successes that you have mentioned going forward.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to, this is like a what's it called? Call to action. How do you want to reach out to me? I do a lot of things. I'm a management consultant, certified and licensed to practice in human resource, forensic, strategic business repositioning, and I have been privileged to author at least 10 books. And these books are on my seller store. I'll share the link so that you can copy it and visit. And the truth of the matter is, even if you don't get to meet me physically, you can get to meet me through my books. I'll leave my phone number to contact. It's not my PA that I will pick. I will pick the call myself. So don't be scared that because it's also my strategy to be the one that will onboard anybody reaching out to me first. Other details may be handled by people back end, but I pick my calls myself. I respond to my mail myself, so that somebody does not mess up the relationship we're trying to build, because we are still building, and we want to build bigger and better. So we shouldn't get to a point where we say we have stopped building. Nobody does that, and that's why even the richest people in the world, they keep building until they leave this place. So it's an opportunity, and we consult for both companies in private and public sector in the Nigerian space. I don't want to mention their name for very obvious reasons, but you can reach out to me through the organizer of this podcast, and we will get to speak, and you'll be amazed how we can move the company from where it is now, no matter how well it's doing, to a more a tangential place that you begin to make better results that you think you'll never be able to make. Thank you very much for.
Thank you so much, sir. Everything that has to do with him, you can check on the description below. You will see the links to his pages or his social media handles. You can follow him, and do not forget also to share. If this episode has made anything or has contributed any value to you, feel free to share, feel free to like, and drop your comment. Let's know what you feel about it, and it helps us improve other episodes going forward. Once again, Dr. Ileyi, thank you for your time, thank you for your wisdom, thank you for the investment you have made for so many years now, and you're just sharing a bit of it with us on this podcast, all for no cost. When people say valuable things, sometimes you see them for free. I hope you'll be able to make good use of this value that you are getting for free. Thank you so much, and I hope that we'll get into another episode again and more deeper questions than this, and I know that the audience will be looking out for that. Thank you once again.